Chag Sameach, everyone. As you can see, I'm holding the wine, getting ready for the 4 cups of wine for Pesach, respectively, and the matzot also, which we're going to have on the Pesach itself. We're not going to be using this matzot on the actual Leila Seder itself, but we will be having this during the week. We're going to get special rounded matzot, but it's a special edition over here. I'm not going to do El Chaim yet because I need to be ready for leave myself ready for Shabbat and for the Pesach itself, respectively, within regards to the drinking. So, friends, a special edition over here where we are talking about what are the traditions. We're going to talk about some of the Sephardi traditions, Eidut HaMizrach traditions on Pesach, which maybe some of you might not have heard about specifically. Some of you might be well aware of. We know, first of all, the most common thing that the vast majority of Sephardim, there are communities, obviously not otherwise, they eat kitniot on Pesach, naturally rice and those things, so on and so forth, which naturally we also very much do in our houses over there, but many Ashkenazi customs is not to eat kitniot and everything else, and there are some communities, even in the Sephardi community, in the Sephardi spectrum, that also will not eat kitniot. Also, that maybe I'll leave for another class, maybe at another stage. But we're talking about different customs. There's an excellent article on the Chabad website within regards to that, so I'm adapting using that. But naturally, many of us do the same things in Pesach, where we take out all the chametz in our house. Everyone, these are universal things over here. We eat matzah. Everyone has to eat matzah on Pesach, naturally. We tell it with the Haggadah story. There's the order of Kadesh, Uchatz, Kapas, Yachatz. There's all the communities out there. Whatever demonian someone is from. Naturally, we will all eat maror, the bitter herbs, and we all follow pretty much the same text of the Seder night also, and which has been changed slightly since the Talmudic area when it was first formulated over there. But so many beautiful customs have evolved worldwide within regards to the Seder night, whether, let's say, people are from Europe or North Africa and from Muslim and Asia countries also. Everyone brings their fantastic different customs or different things inside the Seder night. I'll talk about us being Persian originally. We've got a specific custom when it comes to Dayenu. I'll elaborate that on in the next few minutes, basically. Okay, so naturally, let's look at some of the different traditions, let's just say, over here on Pesach itself. First of all, obviously, kitniot. Also, it's well known that the Ashkenazic communities would not naturally eat beans, legumes, corn, and rice on Passover, which is naturally called kitniot. But the vast majority of the Sephardi communities will eat kitniot over there. That's why a lot of products, especially in Israel, it will say for kitniot eaters only. They will specifically say that. They actually point out, especially Moroccans, if I'm not mistaken, they will not eat rice, but they will eat beans. So they will keep some of the kitniot, let's say, rulings itself. And Bukharian Jews do eat rice, but do not eat beans or peas. This is Bukharian Jews. There's a big Bukharian community, which maybe we should talk about in a later shir also. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing, eating soft, chewy matzah also. Some Sephardic communities will actually still bake soft matzah, and it's available also in Israel with a hechsher also. It's significantly thicker than a cracker-like variety that has become virtually universal in recent centuries. So there is a thick matzah out there, which actually has a hechsher, and they sell it in Israel. We personally don't order it usually, and we don't use that matzah naturally, but there are a lot of people that do over there, and I believe it's a very, very good hechsher, and why I don't do it, that's a good question, actually. Okay, because if it's permissible and it's going to bring delight and everything else to Pesach, then there's maybe every case scenario, every reason what I should do personally. But be that as may, we always usually order the regular matzot, which is out there. Okay, dipping in lemon juice over here. This is something also which some of the Sephardi communities would do. The most common custom these days is to dip the karpas, the vegetable, into salt water. However, some Jews, especially from Kurdistan, the community is to traditionally dip it into sour lemon juice instead. So especially in the Kurdistani community over there, where they have very rich heritage, they would use lemon juice itself. on the Seder night to dip it in. Okay, passing the Afikoman. This is another thing that's maybe different in the Sephardi communities over here. Among the Jews of Israel, there's a custom to take the Afikoman and wrap it into a white cloth. This is placed on the right shoulder and then transferred to the left shoulder. It is thus passed around the table from one to the next, with the last one to receive it reciting the verse. I'll say it in English. Their kneading trays were bound in cloths on their shoulders. Okay, that person then takes 4 paces and is asked, "Where have you come from?" To which they respond, "From Egypt." "And where are you going?" "To Jerusalem." Then they all raise their voices and declare together, "Next year Yerushalayim, Leshana haba b'Yerushalayim." That's a song how it goes. Okay, another thing. Asking the 4 questions in Arabic. Some communities will actually say the Manishtana and the 4 questions in Arabic itself. One thing that can be said is that the whole Seder night is a conversation, especially it must be between the parents and the kids, especially to engage the kids in the Leila Seder. And the children must be asking questions also. But some communities would actually say Sephardi communities would say the Seder in Arabic or in Ladino or Farsi, Persian communities naturally, or even in English, some people would. So it's actually interesting. In previous generations in Yemen or in Syria, they would have actually possibly spoke in Arabic, and in all likelihood would say the 4 questions itself in Judeo-Arabic and stuff like that. But us, we descend from Iran originally. We always do it in Hebrew. Naturally, the text, I'll tell you one. Okay, I'll tell you that for sure. Okay, another tradition, waving the Seder plate over here. This is another one. Those using the Haggadah as recorded by Maimonides begin with the words, Hilu yatzanu mimitzrayim. Okay, we left Egypt in a great hurry. There's a common custom among the Moroccan Jewry to say these words again and again, each time waving the Seder plate over the head of another person at the Seder. Okay, so we don't usually do that, but that's interesting to know, and hopefully you all know. Only after everyone has said the Seder plate waved over their heads, do they continue with Halach Ma'anya, this is the bread of the suffering. We usually raise it. We don't usually raise it over our heads in our table usually, but I don't think we do it over our heads usually. We lift up we lift it up, and we say the Seder plate, and we say Halach Ma'anya. Okay. Having the kids symbolically leaving Egypt over here. This is another custom some of the Sephardi communities might do, which we didn't know about. Many have the custom to give each child a bundle of matzah to drape over their shoulders and then take part in the following exchange in Arabic. I'll say it in English, but they say this in Arabic. Where are you from? From Egypt. Where are you going? To Jerusalem. What do you carry? Matzah and maror. Okay, so that's another interesting fact. Okay, now the one thing that I'm very familiar with over here is, and I know my uncle over here, he always wears a protective jacket back in the days when we used to do this. And the Dayenu, especially among Persian Jews, including myself, the people will whip each other with the scallions, or it's leaf beats, which we do when we sing Dayenu, to remember how the Jews were beaten by their Egyptian masters over here. It's a great way also to keep the kids involved, because everyone's going to be fascinated, and I would say a few stories about it. We used to have family gatherings back in the day. We'll sing Dayenu, Dayenu. We'll say it, and we'll take the spring onions and hit each other. My uncle will always wear a protective, thick jacket and protect himself, so that if he's going to get slashed or something, it's not going to hurt very much. So I usually got at the wrong end of it. I usually suffered the worst out of it, but anyway, never be that as it may, it keeps the people engaged at the end of the day, and it's harmless fun, and I wouldn't do it too strong, just to do a symbolic light act. Okay, smearing the charoset on the doorpost, that's another one over here. Among some Moroccan Jews, it's customary to take some of the charoset left over after the Seder and smear it on the doorpost. It has been postulated that this is to recall the smearing of the blood on the Jewish doorpost back on the night of Exodus, the very first Seder, as well as in anticipation of the Messianic era, when, according to the book of Ezekiel, we learn, sacrificial blood will be smeared on the doorway of the Holy Temple. That's according to the book of Ezekiel over there. Okay, announcing Moshiach to neighbors. This is another custom which would be done also. So if you're from Jerba, Gerber, naturally from Tunisia itself. You may be accustomed to having one of your neighbors walk through the neighborhood with Afikoman tied on his back, calling out, Mashiach, son of David, is on his way. And Bezrat Hashem, we hope naturally that will happen soon. That's more of a Tunisian background. And now one thing that we do after the whole festival of Pesach is the famous gathering of Mimuna, which has become much more popular, especially in Israel. I'm not too sure about Chutz Haaretz or not. Someone inform me afterwards. So after Pesach concludes, naturally, Moroccan Jews hold a special celebration called the Mimuna. What is that? People visit each other's homes to enjoy elaborate set tables, especially a crepe, called Mufleta over here. The word Mimuna means luck, actually, a mazal. On Pesach, many people do not eat at each other's homes, since not everyone has the same standards of kashrut. The post-Pesach socialization demonstrates that there are no hard feelings. That's where they get together and they give stuff. And haven't really attended many Mimuna ceremonies myself, but I remember, I think it was a few years back, I was in a friend's house in the city of Elad, and they were ordering from Pizza Hut and sharing with each other, going to each other's houses. And it's a very fascinating thing. So, yeah, so there's brilliant stuff on the Chabad website. There's an excellent article over here, I think from Rabbi Menachem Posner over here, who is managing editor at Chabad.org. So I would recommend everyone to read some of these excellent articles out there over here. So some interesting facts with regards to the Sephardi community on Pesach itself. And let's have a l'chaim on that. I'm not going to drink tonight, but over there. And remember, I did another share if you watch over the previous videos on the tips for the Leila Seder and the Haggadah night, so please follow that. Wishing all a Chag Sameach, and hope this was informative and thought-provocative. Wishing you all a fantastic day here from Israel. I'd like to dedicate this to the whole of Am Yisrael. Bezrat Hashem, just good things we will see. Have a great night.